Good morning and welcome to worship at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. I'm Deaconess Debbie Spear and I welcome you to worship with us today. If this is your first time worshiping with us or if you have not yet connected with us, I invite you to send us an email to visitor@goodshepherdlc.org. Also, I wanted to let you know on Wednesday evenings we do a communion service via Zoom. You'll provide your own elements and Pastor Kirsten will lead the communion service. You can receive the link for this by contacting our church office or by watching your weekly e-blast for the link. Also, I wanted to share with you that you are welcome to share your prayer requests with us. There are several ways that you can do this. One way is to add your comments, your prayer requests during Facebook service time by just typing it into the comments. You can also go to our website and follow the link that is provided under each worship service story. You can also contact any of the staff members and we are happy to share in your prayer requests and to share them with others so that we can all join with you in prayer. I pray that whatever your prayer needs are, whether it is a want, a need, or a celebration, that you feel surrounded by God's presence and that you know that you are loved. Today's worship is going to be a little bit of a departure from our summer-long theme of travel. Instead of traveling to a different place to experience worship, think of this Sunday as less about a destination and more about how you get there. Today we will be led by a diverse, inclusive, creative group of musicians, songwriters, poets, preachers, and prophets. It's a liturgically grounded creative worship group called The Many. We're so happy that they could lead our worship service with us today and that they are also here with us live in real time, and you can reach out to them in the comments section. Blessings on your worship today.
Good morning and hello. I'm Darren.
Hi, I'm Lenora.
I'm Leslie.
Hi, I'm Gary.
I'm Hannah.
And together, we are The Many. We sing and write songs and spend a lot of time hanging out together. We used to do that all in the same room before COVID-19. But these days, we do a lot of Zoom calls.
We're a group that's been helping folks find new ways of worship, helping people bring together their hearts and their minds, creating experiences of worship at the intersection of timeless rituals of the church with what's going on in the world and in our own lives in this moment.
We've written all the songs we'll be sharing this morning, but they're all pretty easy to sing. So you'll notice we've included lyrics for them because we'd love for you to sing along, which may feel a little weird because we're not all in the same room, but think of it like singing along to your car radio.
We'll also have a time of prayer this morning, and we'll encourage you to share your own prayers in the comments.
We hope you'll participate however you can, in whatever ways feel most comfortable to you. More than anything, we hope that you'll come as you are and be here knowing you are loved and you belong.
Join with me in this gathering litany. Occasionally, we'll invite you to say, "We come as we are." Feel free to say these words of response out loud, wherever you are, or in the comments. God, we come here this morning with our faith and with our doubts. We come with our hopes and with our fears. We come as we are. We come in need, and we come bringing with us the needs of the world. We come as we are. No matter what, we believe on any given day, at any given moment, no matter who we love, no matter what pronouns we use, what color our skin is, what state our bank account is in, how broken we feel, what other people think of us, we come because you invited us. We come as we are. We come together, God, knowing somehow, some way, through your grace and mercy, this is holy ground.
Come, you've been cast out. Oh, you've been shamed. Come, you who are looking for that mystery you can't name. Come, you're crying for mercy, hoping for peace on earth. Come, you carrying questions, all you've been so hurt. Come as you are, come you're weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Oh, you misfits and prophets, and you sinners and saints. Oh, you're broken and needy, weird and weary and faint. All who seek to simply open their eyes. All who need to find a safe place to cry. Come as you are, come you're weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are, come you're weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Come as you are.
Hear these words from Psalm 26, verse 2 and 3. Prove me, O Lord, and try me. Test my heart and mind. For your steadfast love is before my eyes, and I walk in faithfulness to you.
So, one day, Jesus was talking to his disciples and trying to help prepare them for what was coming. He told them that he had to go to Jerusalem soon, and some stuff was going to happen there. Some very bad stuff. The religious leaders were going to turn on him. He was going to suffer and be killed. But also, good news. He would rise up. Well, let me tell you, Peter was not having it. He pulled Jesus aside and basically said, "Hey, Jesus, enough of this kind of talk. Quit saying this. This isn't going to happen. You're just being paranoid and weird. But Jesus looked at him and said, Peter, stop. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying. And you don't really understand how God works. Then Jesus went back to the whole group and said, anyone who wants to follow me has to really follow me. And it will mean suffering. And if you really want to find your life, you will have to lose the way you've been taught to be. Just looking out for yourself, living in denial or fear, trying to avoid the hard, painful things. If you keep focusing on saving your own lives, you will lose them. And what would be the point of that? Gain the whole world, but lose your own life? Does that seem like a good idea to you?
Where wise ones follow the star, and angels sing new songs. We're out in the cold of night. Impossible was born. That's where Jesus was. Wherever love was, that's where Jesus was. That's where Jesus was. Wherever hope was, that's where Jesus was. That's where Jesus was too. Whatever love would do, that's what Jesus did. And the miracle is, that's still where Jesus is. Where the sick were finally well, loaves and fish were simply shared. When the truth was truly spoken, forgiveness really there. That's what Jesus was. Wherever love was, that's what Jesus was. That's what Jesus was. Wherever hope was, that's what Jesus was. That's what Jesus was too. Whatever love would do, that's what Jesus did. And the miracle is, that's still where Jesus is. How can we live like Jesus lived? How can we do what Jesus did? How can we be where Jesus is? We go step by step, step by step. 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 We go step by step. Oh, we find out step by step. Yeah.
So, I think it's possible that God left a message for me in the toilet stall of a hip veggie restaurant in Austin, Texas. Yeah, this one. So the day I saw this, I took a picture of it, texted it to my daughter Hannah, who was at that time a freshman in college. She and I had been talking about getting tattoos for a long time, of course, not matching ones. And I sort of said, oh, maybe this could be a good tattoo for me. And she wrote back and she said, nice, But are love and fear connected? And I thought, yeah, of course. I mean, haven't I been filled with feet knocked out from under me love for you and your big sister Zoe since the moment you were born, and also filled with fear like just drowning in fear for you, afraid that, I'd drop you and break you, or, that I would be trying to cut your little baby fingernails and put an eye out, and then, when you started school, terror, a brush fire through my body every morning when I smiled and waved and put you on that big yellow death machine, aka the school bus. And every morning, I just wanted to grab you back, not let you go, possibly never let you leave the house. But I loved you too much to do that, because I knew my job as a mother was not to keep you in a hermetically sealed snow globe. It was to raise you in such a way that you could go out into the world and navigate it with courage and grace, or at least as much courage and grace as most of us muster on any given day. I know it's such a tricky thing, balancing the love and fear. And some days I do better than others. Of course, all that won't fit into a text. So what I actually texted back was, that Bible verse that says, perfect love casts out fear? Maybe if we love God and others and ourselves, we're less afraid to risk or trust. So as soon as my thumbs were off the phone, I was struck by what I'd written. Loving makes us less afraid. Now, if you look at me, you might not be able to tell this, but most of my life, I have been walking around with this huge knot of fear inside me, and not just for my kids. And by knot, I mean big blue exercise ball taking up all the available space inside me kind of knot, made up of all these little fears, like the fear I'll get hurt or hurt others or fail miserably and publicly, fear that I have a piece of snot hanging out of my nose right now, fear that I don't deserve any of the love I get, fears that all my friends' dreams will come true and I'll end up living in an abandoned van under a viaduct. Of course, I also have a lot of fears about the world, the horrendous state of the world, about the violence we're doing to our planet and the violence we're doing to each other, about friends of mine who might be killed just for driving around black, for gay, lesbian, bi, queer, and trans people that might commit suicide or get harassed or beaten up or murdered just for being who they are. And the refugees, the immigrants, the kids of those guys. I mean, all those kids in cages. What are we doing? And what's going to become of them? And of course, I'm afraid of this pandemic, and losing people I love to it, and how it's changing everything, and how are we ever going to make it out of this mess? And I'm afraid for all the people getting screwed over because of it. Plus, then there's the whole, will we all just be underwater in a few years anyway fear? Will we be trying to survive by living on islands of the plastic garbage that we've created? And I'm also afraid, and yes, I'm a little ashamed to say this out loud, I'm afraid of having to change how I live in any way in order to actually fix any of the problems in our country and in our world. All these fears might just be why I don't sleep so well at night, But I suspect I'm not the only one. In fact, many people have been calling the time that we're living in right now the age of fear. And our fears seem to be getting fed, and fed well. The fear of strangers and immigrants, the fear of black people, fear of our neighbors, and then of course, with the pandemic, we're all either afraid of getting sick or being told to do stuff we don't want to do and losing our freedom. So yeah, I get fear. You probably get fear too. So when I read that story in Matthew about Peter's little conversation with Jesus, I could totally get where Peter was coming from. I mean, because Peter sounded to me, for all the world, like somebody who was just really scared, who wanted to stay alive and keep the people he loved alive. And Jesus sounded like a guy who was fearless, who was ready to walk into suffering versus avoiding it. And suffering avoidance, I mean, yeah, Peter, thanks for mentioning that, because isn't that what we all kind of prefer? Pleasant and pain-free is the American dream, right? So most of us end up making decisions based on what's going to be easiest and best for my life and my family and my little community of people most like me. It ends up becoming about me and mine and us versus them. We don't really want to weep with those who weep, as we're encouraged to do in Romans 12, because those kind of tears might open our eyes, might require us to make changes, uncomfortable changes. But Jesus was telling the disciples to follow him right into the fire, to allow themselves to be vulnerable, to put themselves on the line for the greater good versus protecting themselves, their pride, their property, their privilege. You've got to be willing to lose your life to find it, Jesus said. So what kind of advice is that? I mean, that makes about as much sense as John's words that love drives away fear. But guess what? Maybe it makes more sense than we think. It took 2,000 years, but contemporary neurobiological evidence has revealed John's words about love being stronger than fear were absolutely right. I recently read this article in The Atlantic about how fear is processed in the amygdala. It's a part of the brain that detects threats and signals to the body to produce stress hormones that make us ready for fight or flight. But we also produce this neuropeptide oxytocin, sometimes called the love molecule. It's created in response to actions related to love. And the oxytocin has been found to reduce anxiety and stress by inhibiting the response of the amygdala, which means loving others, being loved, it's been scientifically proven to make you feel less fearful. Wow, right? So here's the other thing that hit me that day in the bathroom stall. I know too well what my fears can do to me, what my fears have done to me. They can keep me, if not totally grounded, then flying at a low altitude through my days, reining myself in, holding myself back, leaving things unsaid, unwritten, undone, and not being who I was created to be. And I realized that moment in the bathroom that if I was my own daughter, what I'd say to me is, oh baby, don't be afraid. You've got to put yourself out there and risk big and love big if you're going to be really alive. And I love you so much, I'll be here if you crash and burn. So go ahead, leap, fly, soar. And it suddenly became clear that's what God was trying to say to me in that little toilet stall. If I could believe she's my own dear, sweet, and fierce, loving mother. Maybe God, who they say works in mysterious ways, left me a message there. Maybe she was trying to tell me that her love is greater than her fear for me and bigger than my big blue ball of fears, and that it's time for me to open the door and get going. Maybe it's even time to get that tattoo, write that formula on my skin, love greater than fear, so I can't ignore it or forget it. Let the ink seep into my bones and the truth swim through my veins. course, I'm pretty scared of getting a tattoo. I mean, what if it really hurts? I mean, what if it looks stupid? And, I know you're probably not surprised to hear me say that, right? But I did at least get a temporary one to practice. And I think it's a good start.
Oh, you prisoners in your cells, all you in private hells, Kyrie eleison. All you hungry and ignored, who thirst for something more, Kyrie eleison. You who feel so lost but are afraid of being found, you who are in chains but are afraid to live unbound, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. For all us lovely needy people living in this world, spinning round and round and round and round, round and round and round. For all us lovely broken people living in this world, spinning round and round and round and round, round and round and round. Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Oh, you children ripped and torn, battered, bruised, and worn, Kyrie eleison. All who look hate in the face, locked in hate's embrace, Kyrie eleison. You've given up and can't see anywhere but down. You've lost all hope and think it's nowhere to be found, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. For all us lovely needy people living in this world, spinning round and round and round and round, round and round and round. For all us lovely broken people living in this world, spinning round and round and round and round, round and round and round. Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison.
One of the ways fear keeps us from love is by isolating us. We all carry around these hidden, hard, and heavy stones of fear inside, mostly silently and stoically. But when we name them, confess our fears, that act of vulnerability itself opens us up to more love for ourselves and for others. As we enter into this time of guided prayer and meditation, we invite you to share some of your own fears in any way that feels comfortable for you. You can do that silently, or you might want to write them down on a piece of paper wherever you are and maybe share them with someone you trust this week. But we hope that you'll also feel free to share some of them in the comments section this morning. Occasionally, one of us will say, Kyrie eleison, and we invite all of you to respond, Lord, have mercy.
Let us name our fears about this pandemic crisis we're living through, the fears and anxiety that we face daily, for ourselves and those we love, for our neighbors, our country, and our world. Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy.
We live in a world where fear makes us distrust others. Let us name those fears. The fears of not having enough, that people are out to get us, that we have to take care of ourselves because no one else will. The fear that if we don't put ourselves first, we'll end up last and lost. Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy.
Let us confess our fear of differences. Let us name the fears that keep Black lives from mattering as much as others, that keep kids locked in cages at borders, that cause LGBTQ plus teens to commit suicide at alarming rates. Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy.
Let us name our fears about the destruction of our planet and about injustice and greed left unchecked and what that will mean for all of us. And let us confess our complicity, the ways we are a part of making those fears a reality. Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy.
Let us name our personal fears, the ones that may seem silly or not that important. The fears of not being enough, not doing it right, the fears of embarrassing ourselves, missing out, not being loved. The fears that keep us awake at night. The fears that keep us isolated and lonely. Kyrie eleison. Lord, have mercy.
There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, There is grace enough. There is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough. There is grace enough. There is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough. There is grace enough. There is love enough for all of us.
There is mercy enough. There is grace enough. There is love enough for all of us.
When we were all gathering in person, passing of the peace used to happen with handshakes and hugs, which of course all had to go away because of coronavirus. And a lot of us miss that because there's something important about this ancient ritual of peace offering that reminds us of our deepest human connections and our need for each other, our interconnectedness. It reminds us that we are not alone on this journey.
A lot of us have been passing the peace with each other only with our words these last several months. But sometimes we've found when we do something physically, it means more. So, we wanted to offer you a new way to pass the peace this morning.
As we demonstrate and virtually pass the peace to all of you, you're welcome to pass the peace in the comments. You might even want to try this gesture yourself with others in your house, or facing the screen, sharing the peace virtually with all of us. Peace be with you.
I want to remind you of the words of Scripture from Romans chapter 12, verse 5. It declares, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep."
Hear these words from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
When I hurt you, I hurt me. When I push you, I push me. When I curse you, I
I invite you now to join together in reading this paraphrase of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 8. So even if I know 5 languages and have several degrees at all kinds of great schools and talk the talk, if I don't have love, what's the point?
Even if I meditate every day and can recite scriptures and say beautiful prayers and have read the mystics and a lot of people think I'm brilliant, without love, none of it matters.
Even if I give money to every charitable cause on the planet and recycle and drive an electric car, unless love is behind it, it counts for nothing.
Love is patient and kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude or shaming or snarky. Love doesn't have to get its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things.
Love isn't happy when things are wrong in the world, with injustice and violence, when people lie and hurt each other and have only their own self-interest at heart. Love rejoices in the truth.
Love is stronger than presidents and laws, and even stronger than fear. Love will always get the final word. Love will always win.
When I can't take the first step, when all I'm holding is my breath, I pray that you are there.
When I can't seem to forget, when I can't see the morning light yet, I pray that you are there. I pray love is greater than fear.
Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. When I can't find another way, when I don't have the words to say, I pray that you are there. I pray love is greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear.
The world is at once terrifying and beautiful, frightening and full of wonder and grace and possibilities.
We can't help but be afraid, but we can also find our way to love, and to the love that is greater than fear.
May you leave this sacred space knowing that you are desperately loved, and with the courage to be love wherever you go. Amen.
Love is greater than, greater than, greater than fear. Love is greater than, and greater than the grave.